Well, thank you for letting me come and talk to you and give you some photographs about the history and ecological diversity of Crane Trail. For those of you that don't know, Crane Trail is the path that runs from the historic district to the gas station. According to the Jekyll Island archives, this was originally a road associated with the Jekyll Island Club, named in honor of Richard Teller Crane, who joined the island in 1911. And this is the 1928 map. The road appears on a 1928 map of the island and was privately funded by individual club members. However, when you compare a recent map to that of the 1928 map, you'll see that although Crane Trail begins at the same spot as the road in 1928, the pathway is quite different and its final destination is south instead of east. The current Crane Trail bike path takes you through 3 different ecological landscapes. Entering the historic side, you begin at the maritime forest. Here you will find the saw palmetto and the cabbage palm. The saw palmetto has sharp sawtooth spines along the stem, and the leaf stem ends abruptly at the fan-shaped leaf blade. Whereas the cabbage palm has a smooth stem which continues into the palm. Saw palmetto leaves are only 3 feet across and grow in clusters with a maximum height of about 8 feet. Whereas the cabbage palms, they can exceed 6 feet in width and they grow up to a tree with an 80-foot height. The maritime forest is home to several trees and bushes that served a purpose in the past as well as the present. Among these are 3 varieties of holly. The Yaupon holly leaves can be made into a tea and are a natural source of caffeine. The leaves may also be used medicinally to help reduce inflammation, improve brain health, and protect against conditions like diabetes. Native Americans roasted the leaves and the shoots to make a dark tea to purify the body. This earned Yaupon holly the nickname Ilex vomitoria because this process would make them vomit. The Dahoon holly can also be used to make tea, but it does not contain any caffeine. And American holly, besides being used for decoration, the liquid from boiling holly leaves can be used to reduce fever and as a remedy for bronchitis, arthritis, and rheumatism. Southern wax myrtle, also known as southern bayberry and candleberry, has leaves that can be used for both candle making and medicinal uses. The camphor tree has been used for centuries to produce camphor oil, which has medicinal uses and is even used today in products like Vicks Vapor Rub or Camphofenique. Camphor is also the best mosquito repellent, so you could crush up the leaves and rub it on you. And the red bay tree, whose leaves can be used to flavor soups and meats. There are also many edible plants along the path. Wood sorrel is comprised of 3 heart-shaped leaflets, with each leaflet creased along its mid-vein like a folded paper heart. The leaflets fold up at night and then during the day open back out. Wood sorrel has a very tangy citrus-like taste, kind of like a green apple, and is very good if you put them on salads. Pickleweed is a form of succulent that is salt-tolerant and composed of jointed segments. The young green segments can be eaten raw and have a salty flavor to them. Excess salt is pumped to the tips of the jointed segments, and when full, the segments turn red and fall off. Mushrooms fall into 3 categories: edible, poisonous, and inedible. So unless you know the difference, don't eat them. All 3 of these mushrooms are edible. The chicken of the woods is safe to eat when cooked, but eating it raw can cause some gastrointestinal issues. The turkey tail mushrooms are very chewy, so they are basically used in teas. And then the split gill mushrooms are very rich in protein and carbohydrates. The large live oak that crosses over the path has several interesting features. As with most live oaks, it's draped with Spanish moss. Spanish moss is given its name by French explorers as it reminded them of the Spanish conquistadors' long beards. Spanish moss is not a moss at all, but is a bromeliad and falls within the same category as pineapples. Although Spanish moss grows on trees, it is not a parasite, and it gets its water and nutrients that it needs from the air. There are no roots that penetrate the tree bark to steal the tree's resources. Also noticeable on the live oak is resurrection fern. This plant got its name because in dry weather, the fronds dry up and curl. They turn brown and seem to be dead. That is until the next rain, when they turn green and spring back to life. It is estimated that resurrection ferns could last 100 years without water, and then after a single exposure, turn green again. This tree also has a very large burl, as you can see here. Now this happens when a tree undergoes some sort of stress, such as an injury or a virus or a fungus. Burls are very sought after by woodworkers because the wood inside of them is very beautiful and very particular. And a closer inspection of this tree will reveal lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic relationship between two organisms, a fungi and an algae, meaning the fungus provides the structure for the algae to live in, while the algae provides the food for the fungus. Lichens mainly use trees as structural perches. They're not extracting nutrients or water from the tree tissue, as they are capable of photosynthesizing on their own. There are at least 13,000 different species of lichen in the world. Two of the more colorful are the bubblegum lichen, which is the top left picture, and the Christmas wreath lichen, which is the top right. You'll notice the dark red wreath around the lichen. Another tree that is well known on the island is the magnolia. Magnolias are believed to be the earliest known flowering plants. Magnolia trees even existed before bees, so they relied on beetles for pollination. Instead of nectar, the flowers produce large quantities of pollen that the beetles use for food. Magnolia seed pods, which resemble exotic-looking cones, spread open to reveal bright red berries. The fallen magnolia seed pod is unique in that it's the only place a microscopic magnolia cone mushroom will grow. The American sweet gum tree is recognized by its hard, spiked fruits, which I'm sure everyone has seen or stepped on at some point. The yellow-bellied sapsucker, also known as a drumming bird, will feed at sap wells, which are the neat rows of holes that they put in the tree. They lap up sugary sap along with any insects that may get caught there, and they always make them in perfect lines around the tree. An older tree will have a very textured look due to overuse by the sapsuckers. It will have continuous rows all the way down. You may wonder how woodpeckers can handle all that head banging. Well, these birds are specially designed with an extra long tongue that actually wraps around their brain and acts as a cushion to help protect the bird. Woodpeckers help the ecosystem by creating cavities that other species use, controlling insect populations, and dispersing fungi that help decay woods. This makes them a keystone species, meaning they have a broad impact on other species in their ecosystem. Other woodpeckers you may encounter are the pileated or pileated, the red-bellied woodpecker, and the downy woodpecker. Now, vines can have a significant impact on an ecosystem, primarily by competing with trees for sunlight and nutrients, potentially harming tree growth and altering forest structures, while also providing shelter and food sources for animals, stabilizing soil, and contributing to a biodiversity when managed appropriately. However, invasive vine species can severely disrupt ecosystems by smothering and strangling native plants, impacting wildlife movement, and altering forest composition. Several vines that can be spotted along the trail here are the wisteria, which is an invasive plant, the Virginia creeper, which is non-invasive, the saw greenbrier, which is invasive, poison ivy, which is non-invasive and actually beneficial to the ecosystem, muscadine, which is also non-invasive and beneficial to the environment and ecosystem. The berries there can be used to make wine or jams and jellies. The trumpet creeper vine, which is invasive, and the Cherokee rose, which is Georgia's state flower, but it is also invasive. We only pick the best. While going about their daily activities, backyard birds are contributing far more to their environment than most realize. Birds ensure flowers and plants spread and grow, and insects and animal species stay under control. They help maintain balance within their habitat. Without birds, entire ecosystems may collapse. So here are some of the backyard birds I have found along this path. The northern cardinal, northern mockingbird, the blue-gray gnatcatcher, pine warbler, Carolina wren, yellow-rumped warbler, mourning dove, orange-crowned warbler, palm warbler, and a ruby-crowned kinglet. Besides being an awesome bike path, Crane Trail is known for its eagle's nest. Bald eagles mate for life and return to their nest on Jekyll Island every year and have been doing so for over 10 years now. Currently, the nest is approximately 8 feet wide, 12 feet deep, and possibly weighs over 2 tons. Eggs are typically laid around Thanksgiving, and the eaglets are born around New Year's. The nest has, I believe, 2 eaglets in it this year again. By the end of March, the eaglets are nearly the size of the parents, and by the end of April, they're ready to leave the nest. The eagles do migrate north for the summer. They don't like the hot southern weather. Snakes play a vital role in the ecosystem by helping to maintain the food web. They are predators that hunt smaller animals like rodents, insects, and amphibians. They are also known for larger animals, or they are also prey for larger animals like birds, mammals, and other reptiles. Snakes help prevent pest species from overpopulating, eat rodents that can carry disease and damage property, and keep the local tick population in check. Snakes eat seed-eating animals whose seeds they can't digest. Therefore, snakes act as an ecosystem engineer in seed dispersal as they pass through all those seeds and plant them as wherever they go. Snakes are a very important part of biodiversity. Without snakes, the number of prey species would increase to unnatural levels. Some of the snakes I've run across in the maritime forest are the eastern ribbon snake, a corn snake, the rough green snake, water snake, and a rat snake, which, judging by the large bulge in its belly, has just eaten a very substantial meal, possibly a squirrel or some other poor little rodent. As we leave the maritime forest, we venture into the marshlands. The path is lined with sea oxide daisies. These plants have adapted to the salty marsh water through use of a specialized deep root system that actively filters out most of the salt from the water they absorb, essentially allowing them to take up mostly fresh water while excreting excess salt through their leaves. The plants are very attractive to butterflies and other pollinators, and they can bloom year-round, with the seeds providing food for birds and other wildlife. And if you were to pick off one of these leaves and break it in half, it looks a little bit kind of like an aloe plant, where it has water inside of it. You can squish it and the water will actually come out. Butterflies are essential to the ecosystem, primarily as pollinators, transferring pollen between flowers, which is vital for plant reproduction. They also serve as a food source for other animals like birds, reptiles, and small mammals, thus playing a key role in the food chain. Also, their presence indicates a healthy environment, as they are sensitive to habitat changes and pollution levels. Some of the butterflies observed in this marsh area are the spice bush swallowtail, the Gulf fritillary, zebra longwing, the queen butterfly, long-tailed skipper, the great southern white, the fiery skipper, the barred yellow butterfly, tropical checkered skipper, and Horace's dusky wing. Beyond the edge of the sea oxide daisy plants are marsh grasses such as spartina and black needle rush. Shrimp, such as those we get here in Georgia, eat the spartina and are known for their sweet taste because spartina grass is a relative of sugarcane. As we move from the marsh area to the water area, you'll notice small holes in the path. These holes are due to local fiddler crabs. A small pond and the creek that runs beside it attract wading and water birds. Wading birds help the ecosystem by controlling pests, maintaining biodiversity, and helping with seed disbursement and nutrient distribution. Wading birds also indicate the health of the ecosystem by their presence or absence. Some wading birds in this area are the female anhinga. And you can tell it's a female because females have a tan neck. A male anhinga, it has the black neck. Double-crested cormorant, great egret, the belted kingfisher, and this is a male. The females are prettier. I don't have a picture here, but they have also a rust-colored band added to their chest as well. Great blue heron, osprey, black-crowned night heron, snowy egret, little blue heron, and when they are juveniles, they are not blue, they are born white, and it takes them over a year to get their blue color. So they go through a mottled stage to where they're white and blue before they turn solid blue. The green heron, tricolored heron, and the hooded merganser. Here you'll see the male, and as with most birds, the male is more beautiful than the female. The small pond on Crane Trail is home to resident female alligator Jessie, who is often visited by her beau, Woody. Woody's approximately 10.5 feet, while Jessie is a petite 7.5. People often ask me how I know whether the alligators are male or female or who they are. Well, alligators in this area have been marked, and the way they mark them is where the rows on their back of scutes go down to the tail, they go to one single scute down the tail. So the first single scute is A, second B, and so forth. So they will cut those scutes. They used to use cattle tags with numbers, but found that those often got caught in weeds and would get ripped out of the alligators. So Woody has a C scute cut and an H scute cut. And Jessie, by the time they got around to marking her, they were up to cutting 4 scutes. So she has the C, I, J, and K cut. So the pond now has around 7 remaining yearling alligators from the clutch that Jessie had in September of 2023. At last count, there was 7. Alligators eat their own, so there might not be 7 anymore. Alligators commonly move about the island, and they're often visiting alligators as well. Alligators have a huge impact on the ecosystem. They are top predators that control the population of other animals, such as fish, snails, birds, frogs, and mammals. Alligators are also considered a keystone species because the health of an alligator can be an indicator of the health of many other animals that the alligator has ingested. The conservation team will often catch the alligators and do blood work on them, and that blood work would tell if they had been infected with anything they ate had been infected with. So far, our alligators have come up clean. Alligators create habitats for other animals when they dig holes in the wetlands, which provide refuge for fish, turtles, wading birds, and other mammals. Lizards help the ecosystem by controlling the population of insects and rodents, which in turn helps keep other species in balance. Lizards also help with pollination and seed survival. Some of these lizards would be the brown anole, very well camouflaged here, the green anole, which apparently likes to pose for pictures, the broadhead skink couple. During mating season, the male there, his head will engorge and turn that bright orange. Apparently the female likes that sort of thing. And the 5-line skink. Other critters you might encounter along this path: the Libya beetle, the marsh grasshopper, cicada. So if you want to know what one looks like, I know you've all heard the noise because they get rather loud. That's what one looks like. The golden silk orb weaver. They like building their webs right at face level for bicyclists. The great horned owl. This one has a nest right near that pond. White-tailed deer. And the eastern gray squirrel. While they're not the most beautiful bird, the vultures are quite useful. Vultures help the environment by eating dead animals, which helps prevent the spread of disease and returns nutrients to the soil. The turkey vulture, there on the left, and the black vulture are the only two species of vultures in Georgia. Turkey vultures usually weigh about 5 pounds with a 6-foot wingspan. The black vulture is a little bit smaller. They hunt for food by smell, and they're able to pick up a scent of dead animals from over a mile away. Now, the black vultures don't have that sense of smell. They find their prey by sight. So what you'll see is the turkey vultures flying low, the black vultures flying higher, so they can see where the turkey vultures are going to go to. And the black vultures are very mean and aggressive, so when the turkey vultures do find food, the black vultures come in and chase the turkey vultures away. Crane Trail is lined with beauty, and a walk down the path never disappoints. So I'll close with a variety of plants and flowers, and then if you have any questions, I'll answer any of those. This is marsh fleabane. Baccharis. Marsh fern. Beautyberry. Bushy blue stem. Coastal dog fennel. Blackjack. Pink wood sorrel. Thistle. Lantana. Spurge nettle. You can definitely see the nettles on that one. Crowfoot grass. African iris. Daisy fleabane. Bamboo, which was originally placed on the island by the Jekyll Island Club for decorative purposes. And devil's walking stick. I think you can see from the picture on the right why it's got its name. It was named from the sharp prickles on the stem and the branches of the tree. It can grow up to 20 feet tall, but it will only have leaves at the very top, creating an umbrella-type look. And it does have flowers, a very purplish pink flower. The Cherokee managed to use every part of this devil's walking stick for medicinal purposes. So I think they found a way to get around the prickles. All right, are there any questions at all? Yes?
So the eagles,
Yes.
the parents come back every year and have new babies.
Yes.
What do the young ones do?
Several of the juveniles have been seen, so I'm sure some of their juveniles come back here. Some of their juveniles might strike out on their own, but other photographers have gotten pictures of quite a few juveniles around the island.
Do we know if there's a couple nests, are there more nests?
There's a nest on Driftwood Beach and the nest on Crane Trail. So there is 2 nests, and both nests have 2 babies.
Where is the one on Driftwood?
It is halfway between the pier and the entrance to Driftwood Beach that has the paved pathway. It's almost a mile walk to get to it from either direction. And you just have to look. It's easier to see now that the hurricane blew away most of the trees in front of it. They do the eagle walks on Crane Trail because you're not supposed to be that close to an eagle's nest technically, and on Driftwood Beach, you're close. You can't see them if you're that close. You really have to get back to actually seeing the nest. And they've also built that front end up where that north wind comes in, so that's been built up, so it's harder to see them this year. Yes?
How long was that alligator in Are crocodiles in this area, or are they?
No, we have the American alligator. The only place there isn't a crocodile is down in the Miami area, and I think there is an American crocodile down there, but we only have American alligators. Yes, they're prettier anyhow.
And was it 27 feet, the one you mentioned?
No. Woody that's on Crane Trail is 10 and a half.
Oh, okay.
The largest alligator on the island is actually about 12 feet. He lives on the golf course, and his name is King Solomon. Yes?
What's the status of the bobcats?
The bobcat population has gone up, which is what they wanted it to do. It had gone down to where they only had one or two, so they brought another mate in, and they had babies. So I think we're up to like between 12 to 16 now. So, and they help take care of the ecosystem as well, so that was actually a necessity to have them brought back in. Now the armadillos, they made their way back here on their own, probably around 2016. They started coming back. They can swim, so they could have gotten here by swimming or taken the causeway. But they have 4 babies each, all of the same sex. I found that very interesting. And they actually eat a lot of bugs and things like that, so they're really not bad, but they do kind of tear things up. Any other questions? Yes?
How many albino deer are on the island?
I'm sorry?
How many albino deer?
I've not seen any of them. They're not albino. They're called piebald.
Okay.
And that's just, that comes from a regular deer. Just like squirrels. I used to have a squirrel in my yard that was white. He was not albino. He was a white morph, which comes from the eastern gray squirrel. I know I have seen pictures of at least 2. And that just occurs, you know, that's just a weird thing that occurs every now and then. But
A couple days ago, right across from Cape Jekyll.
yeah, I haven't seen one yet, but I'd like to. Right now, there's approximately 700 deer on the island. According to the Jekyll website, that means there's about 100 per square mile. So you'll probably see a lot more peculiarities.
Yeah.
So, yes?
Gary, what's the origin of the 2 ponds?
Origin of what?
The 2 ponds that are on the trail, where the alligators are.
They were not there back when the original road was created. The map at the very beginning, you know, it went straight across, and now it comes down. So that little pond was not there. It's been almost 100 years. There's several things that can make ponds. The one on Crane Trail could have actually been dug. It's not very big, and it's not very deep. So I'm not sure how it got there, but a lot of the landscape has changed over 100 years. Like Horton Pond, Major Horton did not know about it. It was dug out in 1970. He was here a couple 100 years earlier. So, yeah, the landscape and the ponds change. Yes, ma'am.
It's my understanding that the pond on Crane Trail was dug by the employees of the Club Hotel to raise terrapins for terrapin soup.
According to the Jekyll Island archives, that would not be true because the map showed the Crane Road went straight across in an east-west direction and tied up with the Rockefeller Road. Well, that pond is not even anywhere near that road. So I know that they did serve turtle back in the day. You had turtle soup. But they probably came from ponds closer to the hotel because that pond would be well over a mile away from the hotel, and I don't think they're going to walk a mile for a turtle when you've got them everywhere closer to the hotel. Yes?
What naturally controls the alligator population?
The alligators do.
Is that abandoned?
They are self-controlling. They will eat each other. Adults eat babies. I had a friend of mine, he took pictures of probably a 6-foot alligator eating a 4-foot alligator. Now, when they're born, the clutches are usually up to 35 in a clutch, but the male alligator will go through those and eat most of them. They're only about 8 inches long, so turtles will eat them, birds will eat them. So they kind of take care of their own. Right now, there's approximately 200 alligators on the island, and it's been that way for quite a few years. About 100 under 6 feet and 100 over. The only time it changes is when they do have new clutches. Of course, it goes way up, and then a week or two later, it goes way down. So, yes, they take care of their own.
How about the migration? They swim from island to island. Sometimes you see reports.
They do. They will travel from island to island. They can endure salt water for about 4 days. So they will swim from here to Brunswick, from here to St. Simons. The gators on St. Simons will swim over here. They do get tired from the salt water. They will also go out to it. The only vulnerable place on an alligator is the inside of his mouth. Sometimes they get parasites. So they'll go to the beach. I'm sure you've seen where people have commented that there's an alligator on the beach. Well, we don't offer swimming with the gators, or I'd be doing it. But they go there to do a saltwater rinse of their mouth to get rid of the parasites. But because they're used to still water, all that rocking and movement out there in the waves wears them out and they can't get home. So that's when the rangers and the conservation team come in and they get the alligator. They look to see the markings, to see where it came from, and then they go take it back to its pond, because they don't want to put it in a pond that has like a very aggressive gator in it if it didn't come from that pond. So, yes?
They survive the cold weather. It's pretty cold right now. How do the alligators survive?
They dig holes. They'll dig holes up in the bank and just kind of bury themselves in. And like I said when I was speaking about them, that also helps with the ecosystem, because after winter, those holes are still there, and other animals then go in and use the holes dug by the alligators. But down here, it doesn't get cold and stay cold long enough. The alligators will be out on the platform at Horton Pond in December, in January. The only thing they do is around the 1st of December, they will stop eating, because if the temperature stays 70 degrees or below, they can't process food. So it would make them very sick to eat something. So they typically stop eating, and they'll come out around March with a big hunger, and that's when you're going to see the turtles not sitting next to the alligators. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any conversations about the population of the deer and control of that?
I'm sure there are, and I have opinions on that, but we're just going to let the conservation team handle that. Yes.
Can you share your opinion?
I think there's too many, and I think that, a night hunt, supervised night hunt, maybe giving out tags or something like that would be good for the deer, because when you see 5 or 6 bucks eating together, that typically doesn't happen in nature. So, just my thought, though, which doesn't matter. Yes, ma'am.
What's the lens you're using for your bird photography?
I'm sorry?
What lens are you using for your bird photography? What kind of equipment do you use?
I used to have the camera with all the detachable lenses, but it got too heavy and I got old. So I have a lighter Canon PowerShot. It has a built-in zoom, and that's what I use.
What's the zoom?
I'm sorry?
How long is the zoom?
All it says on the Canon is 65 times. So I can get exceptional distance with that camera, but I can also at the same time take a picture of something right here. So I have friends that have, the lenses. Well, they can get certain things, but they can't get everything that I can get. So it's just, what I prefer now.